The assembly will now come to order. The chief clerk will call the roll.
Assemblywoman Anderson. Assemblywoman Backus. Assemblywoman Bilbray Axelrod. Assemblywoman Brown May. Assemblyman Carter. Assemblywoman Cohen. Assemblywoman Considine. Assemblyman DeLong. Assemblywoman Dickman. Assemblyman De Silva. Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblywoman Gallant. Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Assemblywoman Gorlow. Assemblyman Gray. Assemblyman Gurr. Assemblyman Hafen. Assemblywoman Hanson. Assemblywoman Hardy. Assemblyman Hibbets. Assemblywoman Hadigi. Assemblywoman Kasama. Assemblyman Koenig. Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch. Assemblywoman Marzola. Assemblyman MacArthur. Assemblywoman Brittany Miller. Assemblyman C.H. Miller. Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno. Assemblywoman Mosca. Assemblywoman Newby. Assemblyman Wynn. Assemblyman O'Neill. Assemblyman Ortlicker. Assemblywoman Peters. Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. Assemblywoman Taylor. Assemblywoman Thomas. Assemblywoman Torres. Assemblyman Watts. Assemblyman Urick. Speaker Yeager.
Here. Assemblywoman Howdigee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the record show we have 42 members present.
The records shall so reflect. We have 42 members present. There is a quorum. The members of the assembly will please rise for the prayer by Reverend Karen Foster, Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada.
May we take this opportunity to open our hearts to prayer. Spirit of love and life, we give thanks for this day. We give thanks for the rain that is nurturing the ground and all of life. We give thanks for these mountains and our desert lands, and above all, we give thanks for the people of Nevada. We give thanks for the opportunity to make life better and relieve suffering for Nevadans. May we allow our hearts to be engaged and moved by our neighbors who are hungry, by those who have no homes, who struggle with mental illness, who have health issues, who continue to struggle with losses and ramifications due to COVID, other illnesses, addiction, economic challenges. For we have been entrusted with our fellow human beings' welfare. It is they who call us to our best and highest selves. May we gather our strength and our courage and accomplish together that which we could never do alone. May our care and compassion guide us. It is in the many names of the holy that we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order business 2, reading and approval of the journal.
Carson City, Thursday, March 9, 2023. An assembly called to order at 11:42
Assemblywoman Howdigee.
a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to dispense with further reading of the journal and allow the Speaker and Chief Clerk to make any necessary corrections and additions.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order business 4, reports of standing committees.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary, to which will refer to Assembly Bill 17-231, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Brittany Miller, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary, to which will refer to Assembly Bill 6876, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Brittany Miller, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Natural Resources, to which was referred to Assembly Bill 19, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Leslie E. Cohen, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred to Assembly Bill 268, has had the similar consideration and begs leave to put the same back. The recommendation men do pass as amended. Danielle Monroe Moreno, Chair.
Order business 8, motions, resolutions, and notices.
Assembly Joint Resolution 4, introduced by Assemblyman Hafen et al., Senators Titus et al., proposing to amend the Nevada Constitution to remove the constitutional provisions governing the legislature's authority to apportion senators and members of the Assembly among counties or legislative districts of the state, and create the Independent Redistricting Commission vested with the power to apportion senators and members of the Assembly in the legislature and members of the United States House of Representatives among districts established by the Commission.
Assemblywoman Howdigy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Joint Resolution Number 4 be referred to your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Without objection, so referred.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 4, introduced by Assemblyman Summers Armstrong et al., directing the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Government Affairs to conduct a study of the use of polygraphic examinations on certain employees.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that ACR 4 be referred to your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Without objection, so referred.
Notice of exemption, March 10, 2023. The Fiscal Analysis Division, pursuant to Joint Standing Rule 14.6, has determined the eligibility for exemption of Assembly Bills number 14, 147, 201, 211, 216, 228, 237, 238, 239, 254, and 273, Sir Kaufman, Fiscal Analysis Division. Notice of exemption, March 14, 2023. The Fiscal Analysis Division, pursuant to Joint Standing Rule 14.6, has determined the eligibility for exemption of Senate Bills 126, 158, 204, and 253. Wayne Thorley, Fiscal Analysis Division.
Order of Business 9, introduction, first reading, and reference of bills.
Assembly Bill 281, introduced by Assemblyman Gorlow et al., an act relating to healthcare requiring the administrator of a senior living facility to ensure a senior living facility is equipped with functional ventilation and filtration systems, establishing requirements for the assessment of and any improvement of such ventilation and filtration systems, requiring certain personnel to complete an assessment report on such a ventilation or filtration system, requiring the administrator of a senior living facility to prepare a report on such a ventilation or filtration system, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 282, introduced by Assemblyman Summers Armstrong et al., an act relating to substitute teachers, requiring school districts to provide certain substitute teachers with a subsidy for the purchase of health insurance coverage, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 283, introduced by Assemblyman Summers Armstrong et al., an act relating to healthcare, requiring the Department of Health and Human Services to seek an increase to certain reimbursement rates under the Medicaid program for doula services, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 284, introduced by Assemblywoman Kasama, an act relating to mortgage companies, authorizing an employee of a mortgage company, including a mortgage loan originator employed by or associated with the mortgage company, to conduct the business of the mortgage company at a remote location under certain circumstances, setting forth certain requirements and restrictions concerning the conducting of business of a mortgage company at a remote location, requiring the Commissioner of Mortgage Lending to adopt certain regulations, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 285, introduced by Assemblywoman Taylor et al., an act relating to education, removing requirements for the use of restorative disciplinary practices in public schools, revising provisions governing the development of a plan of discipline by the Board of Trustees of a school district, revising provisions governing age requirements for the suspension, expulsion, and permanent expulsion of pupils, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 286, introduced by Assemblyman Brittany Miller et al., an act relating to elections, providing for the establishment of polling places in a county jail, city jail, local facility for the detention of children, regional facility for the treatment and rehabilitation of children, and state facility for the detention of children, requiring the Secretary of State to allow certain prisoners to use a certain system of approved electronic transmission to pre-register and register to vote, and to cast a ballot, requiring such a jail or facility to allow certain prisoners to register to vote, requiring such a jail or facility to allow a prisoner to vote and return his or her mail ballot, requiring such a facility or such a jail or facility to submit a report to the Secretary of State after each election, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 287, introduced by Assemblyman Gray et al., Senators Hanson and Stone, an act relating to civil actions, providing that peace officers are immune from civil liability under certain circumstances, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 288, introduced by Assemblyman O'Neill, an act relating to human trafficking, establishing the Nevada Blue Ribbon Committee on Human Trafficking, King, prescribing the membership and duties of the committee and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 289, introduced by Assemblyman Carter et al., Senator Pazina, an act relating to human remains, authorizing the use of natural organic reduction for the cremation of human remains, revising various provisions relating to the disposition of human remains, providing penalty and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 290, introduced by Assemblyman Brown May et al., Senator Goycochea, an act relating to motor vehicles, authorizing under certain circumstances a dealer and purchaser to enter into a written return agreement to cancel a vehicle sale, revising provisions relating to the registration of certain vehicles when the certificate of title is lost, unlawfully detained, or otherwise not available, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 291, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to crimes, revising provisions relating to the prosecution of certain crimes and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 292, introduced by Assemblywoman Gonzalez et al., Senator Spearman et al., an act relating to incarceration, setting forth certain rights of offenders and prisoners, requiring certain persons and governmental entities to take certain actions relating to such rights, providing for the designation of an ombudsman for each institution, facility, or jail, and prescribing the powers and duties relating to that position, revising provisions relating to training for correctional staff, revising provisions relating to a risk and needs assessment, prohibiting the use of restraints on a pregnant offender or prisoner who is being transferred or transported under certain circumstances, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 293, introduced by Assemblyman Orlicker, an act relating to Medicaid, requiring the Medicaid program to provide coverage of certain services provided by a medical legal partnership and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 294, introduced by Assemblyman Orlicker, an act relating to tobacco, prohibiting the sale of certain flavored tobacco products and flavoring agents for tobacco products, prohibiting the sale of cigarettes to certain persons, requiring annual inspections of locations that sell certain tobacco, vapor products, or other nicotine products, prohibiting the sale of cigarettes after a certain date, eliminating the tax on cigarettes after that date, requiring certain insurers to cover certain services for ceasing the use of tobacco, providing penalties, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 295, introduced by Assemblyman Urick et al., an act relating to taxation, revising provisions relating to certain tax exemptions for veterans and surviving spouses of veterans, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 296, introduced by Assemblyman De Silva and Torres, an act relating to education, prohibiting the counting of a pupil for apportionment purposes unless a pupil receives a certain amount of instructional time, requiring the Department of Education to adopt regulations limiting the amount of time used to prepare for and conduct certain examination and assessments, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 297, introduced by Assemblyman O'Neill, an act relating to pretrial release hearings, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays for the purpose of calculating the 48-hour period in which a pretrial release hearing must occur after a person has been taken into custody, and providing other matters properly named thereto. Assembly Bill 298, introduced by Assemblywoman Howdigy, an act relating to real property, requiring under certain circumstances a landlord who collects from a prospective tenant any fee to apply to rent a dwelling unit to return such fees, requiring any written agreement for the use and occupancy of a dwelling unit or premises to contain separate appendices relating to fees and tenants' rights, making it unlawful for a landlord or certain other persons to charge a tenant certain fees, temporarily exempting certain transfers, assignments, or conveyance of real property from the real property transfer tax, temporarily prohibiting a landlord from entering into a rental agreement with certain existing tenants that increases the rent due from the tenant by more than a certain amount, and providing other matters properly in there too. Assembly Bill 299, introduced by Assemblyman Yeager, an act relating to state government, creating the Nevada Medal of Distinction and the Nevada Awards and Honors Board, setting forth the process for awarding the Nevada Medal of Distinction, and providing other matters properly in there too. Assembly Bill 300, introduced by Assemblyman Yeager, an act relating to domestic partnerships, clarifying provisions governing the termination of a domestic partnership upon the death of either domestic partner, and providing other matters properly in there too.
Assemblywoman Howdigy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bills 281 through 300 be referred to the committees as referenced on the Assembly Bill introduction list dated March 14th, 2023, of which every member has a copy of on their desk.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Take us next to Order of Business 13, unfinished business of the preceding day. There being no objections, the Speaker and Chief Clerk will sign Assembly Bill 152. Order of Business 15, remarks from the floor. Assemblywoman Brown May.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am honored today to introduce this distinguished body to a number of visitors that we have. Today is the Nevada Blind Children's Awareness Day at the Legislature. I'd like to ask each of those representing the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation and folks who have visual disability to stand and be recognized today. We currently have 2 teenagers as representatives for the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation on the floor with us, and in the gallery, the foundation's CEO, Maribel Garcia, is with us. Nevada is one of 7 states that does not have a school for the blind, although there are 15,800 children currently who are blind or visually impaired within our state. The Foundation's mission is to educate, employ, and empower children who are blind and visually impaired to reach their fullest potential. I'd like to ask you if you would please help them all feel welcome here today.
Assemblywoman Considine.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to welcome someone that is visiting us today who I incredibly admire. In 2011, after graduating from law school, she chose to come to Clark County to Las Vegas and work with me where I was working in my law firm. She was the first clerk I worked with, and 2 weeks ago, she just had her first oral argument in front of our Nevada Supreme Court, and I'm incredibly proud of her. She has also brought her family, so Sophia Romero, please stand up. Then we have her daughter, Lexi, who is in kindergarten, Marcos, who is in first grade, and both did a great job with the Pledge of Allegiance. In the gallery, we have Kayla, and then dad to them all, we have Mark. If we could please make them all welcome, and I'm so pleased to have them here. Thank you.
Assemblyman DeLong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have Britt Young with me on the floor. She lives in Assembly District 26. She is the mom of an 11-year-old with mental health disabilities who struggled to find appropriate support in educational setting as well as mental health services to support them after school. Britt found Nevada PEP and through their assistance decided she wanted to help other families as well as serve the family peer support facilitator. Britt is a nationally certified family peer support specialist in Nevada PIP's Reno office who assists families in Washoe County as well as throughout northern Nevada. Would everyone please make her feel welcome today?
Assemblywoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I would like to invite everyone that's here with the Southern Nevada Black Educators Initiative to stand up. So today with us, as many people know, it's spring break, so educators are able to come to Carson City. I have with us some of the members of the Southern Nevada Black Educators Initiative. And this is a group that I, as a black educator, am also a member of. It's a group made of teachers, admin, support staff, counselors, nurses, all educators, and as well as advocates. And what they do is to advocate not just for the teaching profession and for our children, but to ensure that black educators are recruited and, even more importantly, retained. So I would like if everyone would give them a great welcome. They've done tremendous work in such a short time, led by Ms. Jordan Hankins that started the group, a year ago, and already have had tremendous conferences and works with the colleges and universities as well as K-12. So please, everyone, make them feel welcome.
Assemblyman Miller.
Thank you, Speaker. On today, as we all know, and there'll be, as we all know, it's Children's Week. There'll be another announcement made after this, but I have a very special dignitary sitting with me today, And I think whenever we have dignitaries in the room, we acknowledge them. So if you all wouldn't mind giving Miss Andrea Pierce, who is the Strong Start Youth Mayor for the Nevada Institute Center, for the Nevada Institute for Children's Research and Policy, Andrea Pierce. She's 9 years old, ran her election, and when asked, what do you do as mayor? She said, it's pretty much speech and debate. I said, you got it.
Assemblywoman Mosca.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like all of the leaders and training members to stand up, please. Thank you to our colleagues who are allowing them to sit with you. I'm very proud that Leaders in Training is here today. As we know, it's spring break. The vision is to empower students to be the first in their family to graduate from college, but more importantly, come back to the community as the leaders we need. By them being here and seeing what you all are like and what it's like, they know that they can do it as well. I'm very proud. I do have the new executive director, Mr. Johnny Dominguez, here today. We're especially grateful for him because I'm able to serve. I founded the organization in 2012. And I left because he stepped up. So thank you, students. You prove what's possible, and we know that you'll be in our seats someday. Please make them feel welcome.
Assemblywoman Newby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have with me a constituent of Assembly District 10. Mr. Riley Harris, and he is the Youth Move Facilitator in the Las Vegas office of Nevada PEP. Riley works to speak up about youth concerns and issues, whether those are related to education, mental health, juvenile justice, or child welfare. Often meetings regarding youth serving systems happen at times when youth are in school, making it almost impossible to hear the youth voice at systems change meetings. Youth Move Nevada hosts a peer-led virtual meeting available to all youth and young adults who have disabilities across Nevada between the ages of 14 and 24. I'm really excited to have him here as a constituent and as someone who supports children's mental health. So please help him to be welcome here.
Assemblywoman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today with me, stand on up, Kate. I have Kate Little, and she is also from Nevada PEP's Youth Move here in Washoe County. And as you just heard from our colleague, Youth Move Nevada is a youth-inspired, youth-led organization. I think that's really important. And this organization is dedicated to encouraging and empowering youth to advocate so that they can improve the systems that they themselves are involved in. Now, for Kate, she has lived experience with mental health and shares that lived experience to help other youth develop their stories and is dedicated to reducing the bias and prejudice around mental health. So please help me make her feel welcome. Thank you, Kate. And she's also in my district. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, if I may continue, also at Elmcrest Elementary School, they were taking a tour, and I think they've already gone through the gallery, through the gallery. They've already been through here, but they're an elementary school in my district, and they were here, the 5th grade class, and we just still want to make them feel welcome. In case they're listening or watching, we appreciate them being here. Just give them a hand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Assemblyman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two quick announcements. As will probably be discussed in addition today, is Pi Day 3.14. My colleague from District 42 and I, as leadership of the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, have decided to provide both pies and pizza pies in room 3119 following the adjournment of floor for folks to enjoy if they'd like. In addition, I'd like to introduce one of my guests on the floor today, a resident of Assembly District number 10, and the daughter of a former colleague of ours, now the senator from District 3. And of the members of that family in the building today, certainly far and above my favorite, we are joined by Miss Hannah Lay. Please make her feel welcome.
Assemblywoman Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is the second day of Children's Day at the legislature. Since 2011, over 80 different nonprofit, corporate, philanthropic, and state agencies and organizations have joined together to host Children's Week at the legislature. Each day focuses on a different topic. Today, Tuesday, is focused on issues related to children's mental well-being. Please welcome the children, families, and providers who will be in the building this week, and stop by room 3100 for additional information on programs and services for kids. Thank you to the Nevada Institute for Children's Research and Policy at UNLV for hosting the event again this session. An additional, Mr. Speaker, I have 3 guests that I would like to introduce. Please stand. They are the YMCA Teen Change Makers, and they're a policy group that will go out and help teens in our areas that are experiencing problems, and they make changes. And I just want to introduce my 3 guests that I'm so proud of: Dylan Hinton, Rachel Pope, and Riley McDaniel. Please welcome them, our Teen Change Makers. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 2 quick announcements. Yesterday, this is Education Week, and yesterday I had some guests here from Assembly District 6. Ollie Allen and Gabriel Yates were here with a group of 11 students from Assembly District 6 and the nearby surrounds to let us know about the good work they are doing in our community. And so I would hope that you all would just give them a round of applause. They're not here, but to let them know that you knew that they were here. All right, so finally, I'd like to say a little something about pie. It is Pi Day, and this day was chosen because of its numerically, it represents the first 3 digits of pi, 3.14. So I was horrible in math. My kind of pie is made up of flour, water, butter for crust, and something sweet in the middle. And today, after floor, we, as promised, will celebrate my colleague to the south, whose birthday was last week, with the good kind of pie, the edible PIE. So, members of the Assembly, after, if you would please join us in the caucus room for a sweet treat, pie. Thank you.
Do we have any other order of business 15 or any other dignitaries on the floor today? Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Some quick announcements for the floor. This week is Brain Awareness Week. It's also Children's Week at the legislature. Today is Nevada Blind Children's Awareness Day. And this evening we have a joint session with the Senate to hear the state of the judiciary from 5 p.m. to 5:45 in the Assembly chamber. The Supreme Court will also be hosting a reception for legislators only from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Supreme Court Rotunda. Tomorrow is Veteran and Military Day at the Legislature. We also have the Nevada Youth Legislator Day and ARPAN Special Day. The Nevada Donor Network is hosting a reception at the Governor's Mansion from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Life Science Innovation Reception will be held at the Great Basin Brewery from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And the Sunshine Week reception will be at the Brewery Art Center from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Seeing no other business, Mr. Speaker, I move that we stand in recess until a prompt 4:45 p.m. in chambers.
Assemblywoman Howdiggy has moved that the Assembly stand in recess until 4:45 p.m. today. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. We are in recess.